Hello and welcome to this C# tutorial for teens. C# is a programming language. Programming languages are used in different methods of programming. We can use C# to make everything from console applications to AI. The first thing that we will need to do is download Visual Studio. Visual Studio will make it easier for us to get started programming in C#. The community plan is completely free to use and has all of the tools we need to learn C#. After downloading Visual Studio, just open it up and you should see a screen like this. Just click Create Project, then click C# Console App, then type name, the name of the project that you want to create. I'll name it Console C# Application. Now after clicking Enter, we can click the green play button in the top of our Visual Studio screen. However, you may have noticed that the window automatically closes after briefly displaying some text. To fix this, we can use a line of code called console.readline. To use it, we type console.readline, then parentheses, and then a semicolon. This will keep the console visible until we press enter. Now you can see that the words hello world have been printed in our console. Now we can walk through the code to see what is being done here. The first line of code says using system. This means that we are using a .NET library. .NET is a framework created by Microsoft. When we type using system in the beginning of our program, we are able to use all of the system classes and methods without typing them out. If we didn't include them using the system directive, we would have to type system.console.writeline or system.console.readline. So it's not entirely necessary, but it makes our life easier when programming. The next line says console C# tutorial. This is the location of our file. As you can see, it is located in console C# tutorial. If we were to put our console file in a folder named test inside of the console C# tutorial project, then the namespace would say our project name followed by dot and then the folder name, which is test. Next, we have curly braces under the namespace that close at the bottom of our program. This means that everything inside of those curly braces is inside of the console C# tutorial. Next, we have class program followed by curly braces. This means that everything inside of those curly braces is part of the program class. Think of a class as the blueprint of a house. The class or blueprint allows you to create objects like the rooms of a house. Next, inside of the program class, we have the main method. A method is a block of code that is made to complete a task. Every task that we execute is done inside of a method. The main method is the most important method because without one, our console application would not be able to run. Our application starts and ends inside of the main method. Notice how the first word in our method is called static. Right now, we won't go too in depth, but we'll cover it later on in the course. The next thing that you can see is the word void. This means that the method has a return type of void. If a method is void, that means it doesn't return a value. We can change the return type of a method to different types. We can use strings that it returns text or int so that it returns a number. The next word that we see is the word main. This is the name of our method. Next, we see parentheses. The parentheses are the arguments our method accepts. Arguments are just values that the method accepts and we can use to run. Our method accepts an argument called args. The type of argument it is a string array. We will go more in depth later, but a string array is a group of multiple strings. Now, inside of a method is console.writeline. This means that we will be printing text to the console. The console is the black screen that pops up when we click the start button. Now, next to console.writeline is a pair of parentheses. Inside of those parentheses, we type what we want to display in the console. As you can see, the words hello are typed inside of double quotes. This is because in C# we can only write text. The text is called a string. This text is called a string. Whenever we type strings, they have to be in double quotes. We can type whatever we want in these quotes, and it will be displayed in the console. However, we cannot type another double quote inside of those double quotes. This will close the quote. To fix this, we add a backslash in front of any double quotes we want to add inside of the console.writeline. Then at the end, we add console.readline, followed by parentheses. Now you may have noticed that there is a semicolon after the using statements, console.writeline and console.readline. This is because C# uses semicolons to know where a line ends. We don't need to add semicolons after namespace declarations, class declarations, or methods. Thank you for watching. This has been part 1 of this web design tutorial for teens. Please stay tuned.